All right, so we're now at a point where we need to do the self-etching primer. I went over the whole thing just now with a wire wheel to knock off any corrosion. I want to get this thing primed like now before it flash corrodes again. Here we go. I tried my best to get in between those fingers, and it wasn't good enough. So we're just gonna live with it. This stuff is supposed to bite into the aluminum, and unlike Rust-Oleum products, I think this one will actually work. Rust-Oleum self-etching doesn't really work that well. It tends to be brittle. It doesn't have very good adhesion. It's also hilariously cheap. This stuff is expensive. The SEM products cost a lot more, but I think they're made a little better. I decided I'm not going to paint this valve cover, but I am going to replace the gasket, and we're going to clean it with some steel wool. I think we'll get the rust off of it. Maybe flip it upside down like that, and that'll beautify it a little bit. The rust seems to be forming at the top, not so much the bottom. I got some quart gasket material, which is somewhere on this messy bench right here in front of me. And we're going to try to trace out the old one. I got to get... So these just came out of the apple rust tank. And we need to put a fresh coat of, we're going to be using black glossy engine paint on these. This is gas and oil resistant, so this will be good for it. It's a good paint. Now, most of this paint will wear off within the first mow, but at least we're doing our part to make it pretty. Just like that. Now, it's pitted and all that, but that's okay. You know, I have thought about changing the color of the machine numerous times, and looking at it in what is essentially Batmobile black. It's not a bad looking machine. Not bad at all. But I think I want to keep it red. Toro red. Or something close to it. Make sure we get the edges. But yeah, we want, so the thing is, the paint will help to protect these parts from further degradation as the machine ages and lives its second life. Oh, I gotta go shopping for a tap and die, and I need some engine cleaner. I went to go pick it up from the parts store today, and I completely spaced it. So, this is gonna cure for a little while. Hopefully we get really good adhesion. Let's do a test spot here in the middle. Well, it is attached, but it's not top coated, so it's not going to have really any scratch resistance at all. But you know, we're not going to waste our time and energy painting the inside because that's completely pointless. But let that cure, and we got to drill that hole first before we go too far with this. Got to drill it, tap it, and then once that's dry, we'll flip it and paint the other side. So what I want to do now is I want to take this valve cover off and get it prepped for paint. So we're going to remove it. We're going to make a new gasket for it. And we'll get to this gearbox some other time. So I think I'm going to need, now this is because we're working on the engine now, we need a 12 millimeter socket, which is, no, 10. Aha, they threw me a curveball there. Where's my 10? You know, you can never find a 10mm socket when you need one. I'm going to clean all this up. I swear to God, I'll clean this up. There's my 10. Where's my ratchet? Nurse ratchet. There's my cheap ratchet. I don't use that one for anything. I have a good one right here. Then what I'm going to do, I did some, what I've done, I've gone and received a message. Was it from one of my viewers, I think. Forgive me if I don't remember which one of you sent me this. But the oil pooling in the air box is common on these. And there are ways to prevent it. And one of the methods that I found was to pack the crankcase breather with mesh. So this is, all right, this brings me back to when I was working on my Honda Elite 150 motor scooter, 1986. And I kept getting oil coming out the breather. Now, on a single cylinder engine, that's gonna happen because unlike a multi-cylinder, a 2 or 4 cylinder engine or an 8, you don't have, so one piston goes down, the other one goes up, thereby balancing out the crankcase pressure. On a 4-cycle single cylinder engine, you have a lot of thrashing going in. You've got a lot of differential in pressure. So the breather is supposed to limit or even prevent oil from coming out of it. Now, sometimes those don't work so good. This is one of those times. I don't think this valve cover has ever been removed. So this will be like when Geraldo cracked open Al Capone's vault. Let's see. Okay, let's take a look. All right. All right. Okay. It's remarkably clean in there. Remarkably clean, as a matter of fact. We got, ooh, look at all that valve lash. Let's see. What I'm going to do is I'm going to roll it so that we got the valves all closed. Where are my valves? There's my valve springs. Right here. So we've got push rods down there. They're really thin too. All right, so this one's unladen, but it doesn't knock. It doesn't rock. So this valve is closed. That's the one with the play in it. So yeah. But it didn't really make any valve noise at all. Yeah, it's got a little bit of play. Not enough to where I'm going to do anything about it. But look at how clean that is in there. It's pretty good. Of course, we did just change the oil, so that's something. So there's your head bolts. 1, 2, 3, 4. You should never have to take the head off of this engine. Look inside the valve cover. You can see that nice blue oil I put in there. That's pretty good. It's good. I like it. Now, what I want to do is I want to take this. I'm going to take this gasket off very carefully with a razor blade, and I'm going to trace it on some new gasket material. This gasket is hard as a rock, which is what happens to old quart gaskets as they get, well, old. So we're gonna recreate this gasket right now. All right, so this is the valve cover now. I went with engine black because I have engine black. I do not have any silver paint that is high heat. I have this VHT plastic paint, good for 200 degrees, but I think it needs to be rated for a little higher than that, just to be safe. It's also the same paint I'm going to use on the engine shroud as well. So we got to get this gasket lifted off, and I'm going to use a razor blade for that, a fresh razor blade. I have them over here, and I apologize, my bench is a mess. when I'm done filming, I'm going to actually organize all of these tools and clean this mess up because I can't find anything in this pile. So let's try to save this gasket so that now the world isn't over if we can't use it as a template. If it breaks and crumbles, it probably will, or it'll just come off like that. But under no circumstances will we be reusing this gasket. But yeah, it's coming off nice and clean. That's always nice when that happens, because you don't want any of the fragments falling into the engine while we're here, you know. Something you want to avoid. Also, don't cut the spark plug boot, because word on the street is I don't think coils are available for these. Actually, you can just replace the spark plug lead. It's totally doable. You don't need to replace the whole coil, but I think in the day, back in the day when this was a newer machine, they wouldn't waste their time replacing a spark plug lead. You just buy the coil as a service part and do it. When parts are plentiful, you tend to take them for granted, you know? You tend to replace things that could be reused, etc., etc., etc. All right, we got our template. And we'll lay out our cork. That's close enough. So I was able to I'm going to save this as a template in case I have to take it back apart again and I need to make a new gasket. These are really only a one-time use. Modern engines often use rubber gaskets or silicone gaskets, and those are reusable, not these. But once they're crushed down, that's it. And then give them, like, you know, 5 years, 10 years, and they turn hard as a rock, and they no longer gasket. But this is my own creation. It worked. It'll work. This is I mean, some of you younger viewers might think this is barbaric, making your own gaskets. Why would you do that? Nobody does that. Well, there was a time when everyone did that. You know, you're working on the old flathead Ford and you need a gasket for the whatever, and you just make one. You don't even think twice about it. You just make a gasket because you need one. One thing I never did was pull the spark plug out of this thing. I think it's high time we do that. You know, while we're waiting for some bodywork stuff to get done, you know, that's got to cure for a couple of days before I put my top coat on it. So while we're doing that, why don't we do some exploration here? So spark plug is going to be more than likely standard. I have a spark plug socket that'll fit this. It's just not with me. It's in the other. It's in the garage, and I'm too lazy to go to the garage and see. I think it's a 5/8. All right, spark plug. Yeah, nailed it. Let's crack it apart. Let's see. This is not the original plug. It's been replaced. It's got a Champion in there, and from Japan, it would have likely had an NZK. And that's, I think, is what I ordered. So let's take a look at what we got. Modern day Champion plugs, from what I'm reading, are no good. So if you go to the store and buy one, you're better off just reusing the old one. Check the gap and you put it back in. Call it a day. Oh, gross. Okay, this might be from, you know, I think a lot of fuel got in there from when we were working on it. So I'm not shocked by this. This isn't bad. Not shocked. Let me take a look at the cylinder. I think I have a flashlight here somewhere. Yeah, right there. Let's take a look. This is my Nebo. Yeah, these are no good. It's really dirty. Yeah, it's a little gross. But you know what? It runs. I'm not going to complain. I'm not going to bother cleaning either. What I'll do is I'll run the engine with some, I'll throw some, you know, intake and combustion chamber cleaner stuff, magic fluids, snake oil. We'll put some of that stuff in there for now. Let's put this back in so nothing lands in there. I'm waiting for the valve cover to dry. That'll take a day or two. I think at this point we could take the carburetor off. I mean, again, there's not much else I can do to the machine. Just waiting for paint, waiting for this, waiting for that. So we can get a jump start on that carburetor and put this gasket in a safe place. There, good enough. I'm going to pull that carburetor off, and I want to put it in my, I want to clean it. I've got some carburetor cleaner. So we got to switch back to metric. You might think it's easier working on a mower engine when it's off like this. It's really not. But the one benefit that you need to consider is when you've got the engine off, you can spray it to your heart's content with harsh chemicals that will destroy your fresh paint job. So if I get this thing, let's say I get it all assembled, it's all painted, everything's looking good, and then I have to clean the carburetor. Carburetor cleaner will dissolve any paint I put on there, so, and it will discolor even factory paint. So, all right, so that cleaned up pretty good. I'm going to drag this engine out, and we're going to hose it off from here down so that I can put it back together clean. This gasket has been ordered, but just in case it doesn't come in, I'm going to leave it alone. Strategic, I assure you. But even after pressure washing the ever-loving shit out of this engine, it still looks pretty bad. Look at all the oil that just got everywhere. It's crazy. Let's take a look at our carburetor. So I was looking for maybe a part number or something on this that I can maybe use as a cross-reference, but there isn't one. At least not one that's visible. I noticed there's a spare jet right there. I don't know if that's the, maybe the high altitude jet. What's it say for a number? I think it says 40. And the one that's in there now, 8.25. There's also a jet down inside here. This engine ran great, but it didn't idle very well. It surged at idle, which indicated that it might be starving. We're going to take all these jets out and get a better look at them. I'm going to put this in the ultrasonic tank. And, yeah, I'm going to do that. We'll take this spacer off. We'll put it in the ultrasonic tank and let it sizzle for a little while. But, anyway, we've got one adjustment screw. That is probably our low-speed adjustment. You want to, so we don't know what the adjustment is. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna mark off the screw, and we're gonna count the number of turns in slowly. I can't do this. I can't walk and chew gum, guys. I'm sorry. Here, let me try to reposition myself. Okay, so screws here. Okay, good. We're going to thread it in and count the number of turns. 1 turn. 1 1/8 maybe? Okay, so just over 1 complete turn out. So just remember that. We got to make sure we get down in there. There's a little port, little jet right there, little port. You got to get that cleaned out. I got this jet out. Now I got to get the there's a name for that, jet tube or something like that. That's got to come out. Well, this thing actually is helping. Let's take a look at our carburetor now. I'm using the Harbor Freight degreasing powder, or whatever the hell it is, and she's looking mighty nice. Pretty good. See, the water's gotten pretty dirty too, so that means it's doing something. Now we've pre-cleaned it, so yeah. Well, this carburetor came out really good. Really good. I'm actually impressed. Doesn't appear that this other jet has any... I think it's plugged off right there. Yeah, right. See that where that slug is? I think that this jet right here on the left, I don't think it goes anywhere. It doesn't appear to anyway. Yeah, I think it might be plugged up. I'm not sure where it goes. So we'll do a little sleuthing. Ah, yes, it does, see? So if you follow that straight back, that bore, it goes to this metal slug, okay? And then it goes to this port here, which doesn't appear to be used, perhaps, on this carburetor. The other one is free and clear. So, anyway. This is the, what I believe to be the, this could be the low-speed mixture. I think on full throttle, it runs straight without any adjustments. It goes right through the, through that port right there. But you can see there's a wear mark on this one. Clear as day. This valve should be replaced, although I don't think I can get another one. So we're going to put it back in. I think just by cleaning everything up like we did, we may have solved pretty much all of our problems. But remember, it was one turnout, so we're going to crank it back in. I can't lose any parts to this guy because they're practically irreplaceable. So I want to keep this carburetor together if possible. So we're going to gently screw it in until it bottoms out right there. So it was right about there, and then one complete turnout right about there, and we can fine-tune it once we get it started, so no worries about that one. All right, this can go back in. This jet was clean. I didn't bother sizzle tanking it because it's clean. It's totally fine. So I think what we're going to do is when you get it started up again, we're going to make some adjustments. Better solve it. All right, so let me tell you, that SEM self-etching primer, that's good stuff. That's good stuff. It really grips the aluminum. There's a few witness spots where I can I can't even scrape it off with my fingernail. That's pretty good adhesion. I'm no expert, but that's damn good. So what we're going to do now is we're going to drill this out to just shy of 530 seconds. And that'll give us enough room for the for the threads to bite into. You put some oil on that so you don't burn the bit out. I could probably use a smaller bit. That should do it. Some oil in there. So it's wanting to kind of drill sideways a little bit. remember we had a little mishap with our yeah, I think we've already dulled the drill bit's already starting to dull. So we're actually drilling through a broken easy out right now. Which is never great to do, but you know, you gotta work with what you got. Okay, so we drilled right through the easy out. I hope there's enough material left to tap. I think it kind of walked on me as it's going to do. Didn't go through the deck. If we have to go through the deck, we can. It's not going to be the end of the world for us. All right, so I got myself a tap. I think I want to clean that hole out a little more. At least we can get it far enough. So now I got this tap that we need to screw in. Some oil on the tap. I think I'm supposed to clean the debris out with compressed air, but this is just a very tedious process. Cutting in new threads. It's a precision process, I think. That's what it's supposed to be. This is going to allow us to thread a new bolt in there. I have, I'll be honest, in my 38 years on Earth, I have never done this. I have never tapped out threads before. My dad always did it. He was good at it. He's a machinist by trade, and he knows what he's doing. So I just let him do it. I've never actually done it. So this is the first time. I've never even owned a tap and die set before. But I bought this tool just for this job, and I only bought the one size, so I don't have a selection of these. But you see what it does is, this is a hardened steel shaft with threads cut into it, and there's little flutes between each section of threaded material, and those flutes are designed to allow the metal burrs to kind of go somewhere. So, pretty neat idea. This is how threads are cut. And then we'll bring it out to the garage and we'll blow it out with some compressed air. Clean it up. So, broken bolts don't have to be a showstopper. They can sure make it a living hell, though, depending on what you broke. Now, in my case, we were basically looking at a worst case scenario because you've got a hardened steel easy out. See, that's why I should have graduated up to this drill size, because I think I trashed this brand new bit. See, I know better sometimes. Sometimes I know better. But I just do it wrong because, I like to punish myself. I'm a hedonist, or what's the word? Hedonist? I think that's bottomed out. I did not go the Harbor Freight route with this tap because I have one shot to do it, and I don't want to fuck it up. So this is an Irving tap. A little bit better than Harbor Freight grade. So now we got to flush all that out, and I just realized I was recording vertically. So we got to flush this all out. Let's see if our bolt thread's in. Yes, it does. Does it go in far enough? Well, it's going to have to. If it doesn't, I'll just shorten the bolt. But I think we're good. It goes in pretty far. So, now this was unexpected. So we're good here, but not here. The hole doesn't line up. Interesting. We can fix that easily with a drill bit. We're just gonna kind of, here, show you what I mean. We're just gonna take this drill bit right here, and we're gonna go like this. Kind of widen that hole, just like that. So now we're good. This is all set. Paintwork is, all right, so I did actually drain the oil out of this, by the way. I couldn't, the thing just kept dumping oil in my little cart here, so we had to do something about that. Now, this cover goes on with the narrow side, or the cut side, facing the spark plug. And see, there's a cut in right here, and then there's a, yeah. So it goes that way. And we're gonna put these bolts back in. These bolts are still in pretty good shape. I didn't bother cleaning them up. I didn't think I needed to. So the homemade gasket did need some adjustments. I had to thicken it up, or cut it down on one side to fit that cutout. And no gasket sealer needed. Remember that. And these were assembled without gasket sealer from the factory. You don't need RTV. I found that when I was a kid, I used to use RTV everywhere. It was like the wonder drug. I used it on everything, everywhere, and I think I learned my lesson the hard way when I believe I clogged the radiator in my 1987 Volkswagen. Things you learn, you know, as you get more experienced. And you know, I was probably what, I would think I was 15 when I bought that car, and yeah, I learned a lot of harsh lessons about mechanical work dealing with that thing. But a few little spots there, let's see. Ooh, pretty. Let's get the detail areas first. Inconsequential sections. A little dusting here and there. Make sure it's not bubbling. It's a nice color. It's a little bit brighter than the original. You get the idea. I did get a few runs in the paint, but nowhere consequential. Really behind the wheels, I must have put it on a little heavy. I think this is the right color. I'm pretty damn close to it. Pretty damn close to it. We do need to top coat this. Oops. We do need to top coat this with a chemical resistant clear. But other than that, that's pretty much it. I'm gonna let it sit out here and kind of skin over. And yeah, there's a few runs in it, but that's all right. It's farm equipment, for Christ's sake. Yeah, it's basically it. It's just agricultural machinery, so you know, it's not like I'm gonna enter it in the Indy 500 or anything like that. Oh, that would be kind of interesting. And up against a yeah, you gotta get those characters. It's looking good though. For a me paint job. For a professional, probably not so good. Thank God I'm not a professional. But damn, I love that color. I think that's a good match for the factory too. It'll darken a little bit when it dries. We'll see how it looks. Looks like Mr. McFeely came by and brought us some packages. Let's see what we got today. Got a new air filter. Shiny new air filter. We got some decals. There's our danger decal. We got a float bowl gasket. We got handle screws. The handle knobs are on their way. Those are actually being shipped from the manufacturer. Got a float bowl gasket thing. We've got our 2 carburetor gaskets, 90620. That's both of those. We got one of so one of these gaskets goes between the spacer and the block. The other one, or the head, and the other one goes between the carburetor and the spacer. So there's one. Okay, in this box we have a, oh no. Now in this box we have a blade brake. This is the wrong part. It's a little bit different. It's possible that it could be a revised part. So let's just take a look at our old one and see if that's the case. If not, I have a plan. I have a plan if it turns out to be the wrong part. I was afraid this might happen. Okay, if you compare the two side by side, they're practically identical. The blade clutch material is in a different position. I think it's a revised part. That's what I think. Because it is identical in every other way. It looks like it might be done a little bit differently. God only knows why. But we're going to try to make it work. I mean, the threaded holes are in the same spot. Actually, this one's threaded, this one is not. There's a few differences. But I would imagine that it's just a revision. But just in case it's not, we're going to save the original one and we'll put it back in if we have to. It's a little disappointing. The part number that... Did it come in a bag? No, it did not. Exception ticket, smiley face. Okay. Yeah, all right. It's a little bit different. But I doubt they redesigned the entire braking system just for this. So I think that we're going to be okay. So I guess we can now get the carburetor ready to be put back on. Take this old carburetor gasket off. And you know, yeah, I think the part was redesigned. I can confirm that if I do a little homework. I can make sure that we don't have the wrong one. I mean, if we have the wrong one, we are screwed. I mean, we are screwed with the capital screwed. Because again, why would they redesign the whole system? It's not uncommon for individual parts to change, you know, as production commences, but yeah. It's an optional step. I took this spacer to the belt sander because it had gasket material stuck to it, and if I took a razor blade to it, I would have scratched the shit out of it. So we brought it to the belt sander and we kind of planed both sides. It's the first time I've actually used that belt sander since I got it, so hey, glad I have it. Yeah, that should be fine. Not only that, but these plastics tend to degrade over time, and they can start to develop weird shapes. But it should be okay. Maybe give it one more lick with the belt sander, but it should be fine. Okay. Worst case scenario, I might end up having to replace that part because I probably took too much off or some bullshit like that. But you know how it is. All right. So yeah, we'll put this on. I'm waiting for the bowl. That actually should be here today. Let me check. Maybe it came. Well, we're doing really good. We got the carburetor reassembled, reattached. It's back to where it belongs. Yeah. So everything is locked and loaded. Choke works. So you gotta, when you push the throttle forward all the way, it forces the choke closed. And all this is really doing is setting the governor position. Actually, yeah. So, okay, so your throttle is working against the governor. They kind of work in tandem with each other. So when the governor is, so this is fully closed, this is open, wide open, closed. So the governor will automatically kick in when the engine starts, and it will start to force, it wants the throttle to close. So it's going to put pressure against your throttle position. And they're actually within, there's some spring tension. See how this spring right here? So when the governor is trying to slow the engine down, it puts spring tension against the throttle lever, like that. So when you want it to run fast, it's only going to let it run so far. So it will never let you max out the engine speed. It just won't allow it. It's like, I'm sorry, Dave, but you're not doing this today. You're not going to blow me up now. So this is going to be our throttle stop. That's our maximum throttle position that it will allow. There's our idle speed over here. This is our idle mixture screw. And yeah, everything should be fine. Got the throttle, the float bowl gasket. We got the base gasket for the throat screw for the throttle. The bowl screw. It's a fiber washer. We got that brand new. This is, again, supposed to be here today, the new bolt. And then I can button up the carburetor. I can't put the intake back in place, but I do have the filter installed in the intake. That's what a brand new filter looks like. And I believe I went with the OEM filter on this one. It was a little extra money, but I figured, you know, what the heck. The original one, now when we get this thing running, we got to put oil in this. This requires oiling. But this is what it used to look. Look at that. This thing is trash. I'm surprised this filter hasn't disintegrated. Now that's a real possibility that could happen on this engine. That filter could disintegrate and turn into dust, which gets ingested into the engine, which will fuck it up badly. That's why we don't want to keep that filter in there. We want to get rid of it, even though it might still be okay in theory. But I've got new gas lines already. I just need to size those up. Might as well do it now. I got time. I'll just drop the gas tank in place. We'll size up the fuel lines, and we'll be on our way. All right, so we got this all routed, cut to size, new clamps. You know, some people may not feel that it's necessary to put spring clamps on these fuel lines, but I'm of the school of thought where you kind of should. There's no pressure on this line. You could just slip it in. It's a barbed fitting. Maybe get away with it for a little while, but I'm not one of those. So this is the correct spark plug for this machine. It's an NGK BPR6ES, and what was in there was a battle-hardened Champion over here, RC12YC. Now, are they intercompatible? Well, it ran. So that should answer your question. Yes, I would say yes. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to put the new plug in. I'm going to just wipe this area down a bit. I'm not going to bother, you know, spraying any cleaners in there. I don't think it's necessary to go crazy. But yeah, Japanese engines, they love their NGKs. They really do. That's what they were meant to be run on. So, and this is, and I accidentally found the service manual for the engine. I just found it. I've got the manual for the mower deck, but not for the engine. Now I have the engine one. And I think it was available on Toro's website. So I got to make sure I bookmark that, because, and maybe print out a full copy, because did I just scratch that? I think I did. The paint is still buffable. There we go. So we'll put this in correctly. Gap is 32 thousandths. There we go. That's all you need. You don't want to reef it down. There's no need to do that. So we got a new plug in there. We got a new plug. We're getting there. We're getting there. Now, it doesn't look like my bowl is coming today, because all the delivery guys have already come and gone. So I don't think that's going to happen. Not today. So, moving forward, getting her done. Tending. The handle is looking pretty good. I'm using a product that I incorrectly used previously. It is a simulated chrome finish. Now, it can go over any base coat to give it a chrome effect. It's a lacquer product, and it's actually, the can is outside, but I decided I'd try it on the handle, and you know, it looks pretty damn good. And being a lacquer, I think durability won't be an issue. So it's going to return that chrome effect. If it holds up, it'll look nice. At least for a couple of seasons. I mean, these chrome handles never lasted. I mean, the chrome, as soon as it gets scratched or the salts in your skin get to it, it rusts. I mean, chroming is like the worst thing man has ever developed, because it not only is the process hideously expensive, and environmentally catastrophic, if you really read into it. It's like one of the worst things you can do. The chemicals involved, the cost, it's just no. Don't, just say no to chrome. I love the look, but it's just not worth it. It only looks good. It doesn't even last that long. It really doesn't. Even in the best of circumstances, in the best situations possible, chrome does not last. It just doesn't last. So, rather than try to save it, this is what I came up with. All right, we got the upper portion of the handle done. I'm gonna have to go over it again. Some water got in there from the handle, and yeah, okay. Next, we're gonna take the control module apart and take a look inside there. I know where the cable is broken. We got a new cable for the drive unit. And the other one, which is the blade brake cable, that one I want to lubricate. I lubricated the throttle already. It's already done. And we still have the traction speed control cable to lubricate. The nice thing about these cables right here is that you can lubricate them internally by just going like this, like that, a little at a time, a few drops of oil in each section, and that is how you lubricate them. The sheath cables, they're more or less a crapshoot. You have to put oil, a few drops on each end, work it. It's a bitch. Well, I've made a lot more progress than I was anticipating today. We've got all the control cables lubricated. I'm gonna fill up these boxes with fluid film. I love fluid film. It goes in like a liquid and it kind of sets up like a grease. And I'm gonna put it into the throttle box, this guy right here. So I got the traction cable installed. I just finished this. This was kind of a bear to do because there's not a lot of documentation on how to take these apart. I had to figure it out on my own, and I'm sorry I didn't get it on film. All I can say is before you replace one of these cables, take detailed mental or physical notes before you take the box completely apart. Take a lot of mental notes and understand how it goes together properly before you take it apart. Take photos if you must, whatever you've got to do. Just don't blindly tear it apart, and because you're going to find that there's just no way to get it back together again. It's not that difficult once you understand how it works. So I did get it together, but again, if you're not terribly mechanically adept, you will have a rough time with this. But yeah, we want to get fluid film all up inside this thing to keep everything moving nice and freely. All the cables are lubed again. I got a new traction cable installed. This is what it looks like on the other end. So we'll have to make some adjustments. We've got a new belt going on this thing, so we're going to definitely have to readjust the traction system on this machine. This is going to be cleaned up. We are not repainting this, obviously. There is no legitimate need to do so. It's got that classic Toro look to it. I love it. I love it. I love it. The handles came out fantastic. This is not what I was expecting. This is, again, a lacquer paint that I used. I like lacquers because they're very durable. And when they dry, they're just beautiful. Brilliant shine. Assembly, we'll have to take some care during reassembly to make sure we don't scratch the shit out of it. And I want to get some, I was thinking about doing a black shrink tubing. I've got some in the office over there. And I want to do a black shrink tubing on this section here. Just to give it some durability. Yeah. But handles came out beautiful. Love the way that looks. It looks factory. It really does. It really looks like it was built that way. And technically, it will be built that way. I believe I'm missing one of the screws for this cover. I took one of them off. I think I lost it. I'll know more when I get everything together. This paint, by the way, this is the Rust-Oleum red. It is just now starting to get hard. So, yeah, this paint, the thing that sucks about it is it does take forever to set up, but it's a brilliant finish. It shines like the sun, and it will take that clear coat when I'm ready for it. It should take it pretty well. We just got to, while this is curing, we want to make sure we keep the dust down while we're working. Oh yeah, this is what I used on the handle. Rust-Oleum colored chrome, silver chrome. This is, I believe, designed to be used not as a standalone. So if you've got something black and you want to paint it chrome, you're going to want to put something a little bit lighter on there. It's not very opaque. So, and it is a lacquer, so just keep that in mind. Yeah, automotive lacquer designed to give an on-trend finish. So, lacquer. This is empty. I can throw that away now. All right. Well, I'm at the point now where I need to start working on this transmission. Things are progressing very quickly. So I went ahead and took out the grease pan off. Check this out. I gave it a nice coat of paint. I found this in my cabinet. This is it's a nice, like a nice old gray, looks like a battleship gray. Is that it? No, that's not it. This one. It is charcoal gray, and I thought it would look nice. Not that anyone will ever see it, but I just thought, the heck, you know, what the hell, right? It's not heat sensitive, so I didn't use a heat sensitive paint. It's just good old-fashioned charcoal gray. I'm gonna just kind of repack this with fresh grease. I'm not gonna clean everything out. There's really no need to. You know, they really only, they put a ton of grease in there as it is. I'm also not gonna seal the pan because it doesn't need to be sealed. There's no gasket, there never was a gasket, so why mess with a good thing? So. There could be some engineering reason why. Actually, no, there is a reason why. Well, maybe. No, maybe not. Well, this is a greasy ass job. So I just took a handful and just slapped it. I actually took the gear sets out, keeping everything together. It's a pretty simple transmission, actually. So you've got your, this would be your driven pulley. So this is your low gear, medium gear, high gear. These are the driven gears. And then these are your drive gears and your driven gears. And this is your selector. And all it does is it engages one of these three gears into the, or engages it, locks it to the shaft. Very simple mechanism. It even has a neutral, if you are so inclined. This is currently middle gear selected. You can see the middle gear starting to turn if I turn the shaft. But it's a messy job. There's actually only supposed to be about 4 ounces of grease in there. Whatever, just throw it in. It's not gonna hurt anything, right? Probably not. I got the grease gun out because I'm gonna be greasing up the Zerks on the wheel bearings when those are, I'm ready to reassemble that. So I figured I'd grab it while I was out in the garage. I cleaned the rust off the shaft. What I'm gonna do is probably coat the shaft in a late layer of grease, and then I'll put the, I got some new split tubing to put over this because that's what they had on it from the factory. I'm not sure what the needing of the split tubing is, but God put it there, and I'm gonna put it back. These are the bolts for the cover. The cover should be dry in about 2 days. Like I said, Rust-Oleum products do dry slow. Very, very slow. Give them their time, give them their space. They'll get the job done. Here's our belt. This is our balancer. Actually serves as a flywheel and as the half of the blade clutch. There's our scalp cover. Those are looking good. I gotta say, I'm impressed with this transmission. This is a, it's crazy. This is a geared 3-speed transmission with neutral. And you wonder why this machine lasted 34 years. You wonder why, right? This is why. This transmission is better than what's in my snowblower. I mean, this thing is crazy. Absolute crazy build quality in this machine. Everything I touch, it's like, Jesus, what were they thinking? It's overbuilt. It is so incredibly overbuilt. I mean, that deck will last another 34 years. It hasn't even corroded yet. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. Everything I've taken off of this thing is just crazily well built. Even the engine, I mean, Suzuki engines are kind of an unknown because that's the funny thing. Suzuki wasn't really in the lawn and garden business. And they built this. They built this engine for Toro. But it's a proven design. I mean, the ones that are out there, they're still going. There's a lot of these still out in the wild. But get off of that bench, buddy. Oh my God, dude. Get off of that bench. Oh, shit. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to drop. But even the Suzuki engine, the thing is, Suzuki was never really in the lawn and garden business. I can't find any record of any machines that they've built. And no one else has ever used their engines as far as I can tell. And, yeah, here's one example, still kicking, still going. Showing no signs of ever giving up. And 34 years of regular use. This is not a machine that sat in a barn, you know, didn't sit in a barn for 20 years. This machine was actively used every week. And not really maintained. No blade sharpening, no spark plug replacements, and no regular anything. No oil changes, it just got used. And here we are, 34 years later, and it's just in for its PM. Preventative maintenance, so that it won't die. But I can't tell you how insanely impressed I am with this thing. That gearbox does not belong on a consumer class lawnmower. Today, the current models, they're made out of plastic and they're one-shot deals. You know, they strip the gears out, they throw them away, buy a new one. It's just, it's crazy. This thing is going to last a long time. Probably until gasoline is banned, I'm thinking. When gasoline is banned as a fuel for lawn and garden equipment, that's how long this machine is going to go for. No question about that. All right, onward and upward.